Holiday Road, Holiday Road. Hello, everyone. Today at Visual Residuals, we're going to talk about the movie The Cowboy Way. This movie is one of those buddy cop movies that they decided to turn into a cowboy movie with a little twang to it. It's starring Woody Harrelson, Kiefer Sutherland, the famous Luis Guzman, Dylan McDermott, Francie Swift, Ernie Hudson, you know him from Ghostbusters, Gabriel Morantz, Dan Spoon, and a couple other people who aren't really star players these days, but it's got a good setup, I guess you would say. This movie starts off showing the young Pepper Lewis and Sonny Gilstrap, two young men who happen to grow up with each other, and they're brothers at this point. They're best friends. Nothing can stop them. It shows you in the movie that they both won a championship together, and they won two belts that are gold and silver made. Only two in the world. They say that a lot in this movie. And they're best friends, ride or die. Then it cuts to a sweatshop up in New York, led by Dylan McDermott, who's bringing in immigrants from other countries, trying to get their not really even trying to get their citizenship. I would say they're personally just being illegal immigrants coming in, and he's putting a sweatshop on. That way he could keep his business going. These people could make a little money, and also they can pay their I wouldn't call it a ransom, but they can pay their debt off for coming to America, whoever brought them here, if anybody brought them here. So you see this scene, and now you're just like, okay, well, that's different. Then it cuts back to Sonny and Pepper. Now, from the last scene, you've seen that they're best friends, but now you see in this scene that Pepper, Woody Harrelson's character, is one who doesn't pay people back. He's a cowboy who doesn't give a shit. And Sonny, on the other hand, is a person who's led by truth and power and faith and whatnot. That's what they try to show in this movie. So, Sonny starts off walking in, trying to get on the rodeo so he can win some money. Pepper comes in, messing with the other guys. The other guys say that Pepper owes him money, and he can't ride because he owes them money. So Sonny steps in and he pays for it, and they get to ride. And of course, somehow Pepper, which they show, somehow Pepper just has this luck. He's one of those cowboys who's a real cowboy's cowboy. And they pretty much show that in this scene, that even though there's some type of quarrel going on, that they are still friends, but also that Pepper is the better cowboy of all of them, and everybody knows it, and they're tired of it. So, of course, Pepper wins this little thing, and he gets his money, but Sonny, on the other hand, says that he needs to pay his debts off if he does win the money, because he knows that he's going to win anyway. But, oh, and also, this movie is like a teenager movie, because this next scene, he's basically like fucking this cowgirl. She's like one of the showgirls that rides the horse. She's got like a big booty. I ain't gonna lie. She's pretty hot. And they do that to show that not only is Pepper the cowboy's cowboy, he's also the ladies' man. Like Woody Harrelson was missing hair in this movie, as all of the movies, even when he was young. But for some reason, women like him, and I guess it's the jokes he plays and the exuberance he has when he's acting and not even acting, and the way he acts in the movie. He's just the happy-go-lucky cowboy. He doesn't give a shit. Whatever you put him into, he'll get out of it. He's not overthinking things. He's just going for it. Kiefer Sutherland, on the other hand, Sonny is He's more of a overthinker, and he really wants things planned out. Now, in betwixt this, there's one of these guys who happens to be one of the helpers at Sonny Gilstrap's place, and one of their friends that comes by is an Indian man. I don't even think I. Hold on, guys. Well, it doesn't even show on here. Well, it's a it's an Indian fellow or a Mexican fellow and or Latino. I'm just gonna say Latino. I forgot what country they come from, but he's a Latino dude, and he's trying to see why they're not friends no more and trying to make them friends over a day because it's been like a year since whatever happened, and you've come to find out that even though they had a championship, Sonny decides to go there, but Pepper decides not to show up at the main championship, that like the statewide one, and he never told Sonny why. So that's why they're not friends. And the Latino fellow, he's trying to see why they're not friends because they've been friends for so long and he's known them their whole lives, but he works there with them. So now you cut back scene to New York where there's a girl getting off of the boat and there's two guys. There's an older man and then there's Dylan McDermott, John Stark. So John Stark's out there and he's telling the older gentleman, which you can see that now the dynamic is that he's telling his boss that, hey, I don't know what's going on. He's like, are you taking money over the top? He's like, no, I'm not doing anything. He's like, she's looking for her father. Where the fuck is her father? And I know this guy. He's one of my friends. Where is his father? Where's her father? Right? He's like, I don't know. He must have came by, but I don't know. We'll check on it. I'll make sure everything's good. So now she's working in the sweatshop, waiting for her father to come. Right? So he gets a call. The Indian dude, he gets a call from Stark saying that you owe an extra $5,000 on top of the stuff that you already paid. And he said, no, I already paid everything. That's my friend. I'm not coming down there to New York to get my daughter and have to pay extra money. That's not the deal. He's like, you better make the money or we're going. You see two rifles and you see some gold guns in the background, which led him to take those guns and go to New York to try to pawn them so he can get the extra $5,000 because it's in Sonny's place and you know it's worth something. Because Sonny seems like he likes worth. He wants to be a rich man. It gets to the point where now he writes the number on the desk. He leaves. He goes to New York. Sonny comes home to find that, and he's like, I need to go to New York. And he doesn't have a lot of money, obviously, because the money that they were supposed to have and that he could have been living off of instead of going back to rodeos, Pepper fucked it up because he didn't come up there. He goes to Pepper's house to get the rest of the money, and Pepper's in there fucking the cowgirl from earlier. And apparently she's married too, so it doesn't matter. But they all have known that girl for a long time, and I think they were playing cowboy and Indian, and she asked Sonny if he wanted to play too. And they obviously been having threesomes since they were little kids, from what it's been showing, because they've been knowing each other for so long, all of them. And that's how tight Pepper and Sonny are, that they would have threesomes with this chick. It's crazy. But she's like, where y'all going? He's like, well, I got to go to New York to go find where their friend is, because he hasn't came back in a long time. And we don't know where the fuck he is, and I'm going to go to New York and get him back. Well, Pepper's like, you ain't leaving me here. It's my money. If my money goes with me, I'm coming too. So, obviously you can tell that they go together, and but he tells Pepper that he has to sit in the bed of the truck for the whole ride from, I believe, Arizona to New York. Don't quote me on this. And now during the whole ride, he's talking to him through the window and shit, and he's saying that it's getting cold. And it's one. I'm gonna cut it short, man. I've been this movie is pretty slow, but you can tell what kind of movie it is. It's a buddy cop movie with cowboys, so of course they do the friendship thing, where, oh, I'm not gonna let you in, but they let you in. They end up in New York, and they go to restaurants. They start scheming. They start doing all these other schemish type of stuff to find more information. And they land up at this club where they see John Stark and Chango, which is Luis Guzman's character, and they obviously look weird. They get thrown out of the club, and they're like, it must be those guys. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But then there's a crackhead named Popfly that comes around, and he sees everything. And it gets to the point where they're going around the city to find more answers since they got kicked out of that club, but they're holding it in just in case, right? They're keeping that address just in case they got to pop back in there again, or they see something else again, because they saw something that was weird, and they got a hunch, and they got a number from when the dude wrote it down on the table. He used that number to go to that club, and that club is where they're going to leave the base at this movie. So when that happens, they start going around the city. They end up in a restaurant. He's doing some sexual stuff to the he's trying to be sexual. Pepper's trying to be sexual to one of the musicians up there, and she drops her bow and shit, and that leads another woman to watch him the whole time, and she's really interested, and she looks rich, and she gives her his number, telling him to come meet her at a certain time in that night, because there's a party that they got to go to. And he's like, okay. And then, of course, Sonny's like, how are we going to pay this? And how do you do that all the time? Like, it's crazy how you get all these women. But they're just showing that, even though Woody Harrelson's kind of an ugly dude in this movie, quote unquote, he's still a ladies' man, because he's still out there having fun, even though something's bad's happened. But that also shows that he's just out there to have fun. Sonny's out there for a mission, but he's still out there being his friend this whole time. Doesn't matter what, thick and thin, because Sonny still doesn't even know why he didn't go to the rodeo, which is the main precipice of this movie. Why he didn't go to the rodeo. So the girl gives him the card. They end up going to this party, and the party has the girl there, and you find out that Dylan McDermott is actually one of the hottest fashion dudes out there in New York at the time. But the reason why he is because he has that fucking he's a mogul, you know what I'm saying? He has a sweatshop, and nobody knows about it. But they're busting in there, and Kiefer Sutherland, of course, is going to do the good cop, bad cop. But then you get up there, and Woody Harrelson, she wants him to meet some underwear dudes, and then Woody Harrelson meets these underwear dudes, goes on stage, starts dancing. And after he starts dancing, they end up getting into fights and stuff, and they end up getting thrown out of that bar. But now those guys are headhunting because they know that they're connected to the friendship thing, and where's the daughter, because he knows that he has a daughter, because they ended up leaving. They go to sleep in New York's park, and Ernie Hudson comes up. Ernie Hudson is a cop in New York who rides a horse, and he likes them because he always wanted to be a cowboy, and he thinks it's his final chance to be a cowboy. So now they're bringing him along, and they're tri-tipping this fucking New York stakeout, trying to get the daughter back, because they know the daughter's there, because they end up finding the dead dad, which is their friend. They ended up finding his body, and they linked it to the area where they found Popfly, because Popfly was doing some in and out shit, trying to do some covert shit, but they killed him and threw him in the back of the truck and made it seem like they killed him. But luckily that they were friends with the cop already, and they told him that they didn't do nothing, but it's his time to be a cop. I'm glad I got all that out, guys. This movie, okay, so they end up getting the daughter back. She ends up somehow getting a miraculous legal pass into the United States, because I believe she's getting married to Sonny Gilstrap, because obviously he needed a girl, and that's what this whole thing ended up. He ended up marrying the girl because that they've been talking to each other. You come to find out that they've been sending letters to each other for all those years, and they finally got to meet each other, and they're going to get married. And Woody Harrelson ends up being a fucking underwear cowboy for Calvin Klein. This movie is long and drawn out, but again, it's one of those movies where you can watch it on the weekend, you can watch it early in the morning, you can watch it at nighttime. I wouldn't watch it for anything other than it's a decent movie, but it is drawn out a little bit. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It's a decent movie. I like this movie only because Woody Harrelson's my guy. He's pretty great in other movies. And also, it's always fun to see Luis Guzman in different movies because he does weird movies, man. He's in everything. People don't give him a lot of respect, but I respect that, man. This movie was made in 1994, so you got mid-90s clothing, which I really liked as well. I'm probably going to use some of those tips for my clothing style. Other than that, guys, I really can't say that this was one of the greatest movies I saw, but it is something that's kind of funny. They got some slapstick moments. There's a lot of straight bare knuckle fighting, but it's nothing over the top. It's just a filler movie. What else can I say about this movie? That's about it, y'all. Welcome. I mean, not welcome, but thanks for watching. This has been another Visual Residual, and we have watched The Cowboy Way. Goodbye, y'all.